Hey everybody, Michael from Ohio Pokey Soul here. I vended at my first card show this past weekend and I learned a lot, and I want to share some of those things with you today. So briefly overall, I would say my first vending experience was a success. I had fun, I learned a lot, and I made money. Not a lot of money, but I made money. So with those three check boxes, success. So my first suggestion would be for everybody, if you're thinking about getting into vending at all, your absolute best resource out there is other vendors, right? Go to shows, um, just talk to vendors, ask them about their experience, ask them, uh, you know, what would they have liked to know for their first three shows that would have helped them. Ask them what their biggest hurdles were. Ask them what they still are. What are you still struggling with? What have you found success with? Right? Um, and that's what I did. And honestly, that's really what I attribute my success to. Not that I'm hugely successful, but first experience, success, right? And I really attribute that to the other people around me. I was able to get resources, get contact information for vendors. I was able to continue talking to them throughout the week, and they, were able to give me resources and give me information and tools, the things that I needed to succeed, right? So I'm going to give a really quick shout out to the guys over at Paw-some Finds and those over at Wiser Choice. They were easily um, the most helpful, the most supportive, both in actual resources um, given to me and just advice and help, and then just the moral support. They were both there at the first show. Um, they both came over, said what's up, looked at my table, wished me luck. Just the moral support is super awesome. And and then just a shout out to all the other ones that I talked to and gave me advice and helped out. But definitely a shout out to those two specifically. They're super awesome people. I'm going to tag their stuff in this. Go find their channels and stuff. Anyway, shout out to those guys. So to kind of just wrap it all up, uh, man, your best resource is the other vendors around you. Everybody wants to see everybody succeed. It's a good community, which is really awesome. So it's a lot of fun. Go talk to those vendors. They're more than willing to support, which is so awesome. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's it for the first note. Takeaway number two, I would say, is not to worry about everything else that's going on around you. So when I got to the table, I started setting up. All the vendors are coming in at the same time. And man, there's just so much craziness going on around you. You got people with fancy made up tablecloths with logos and stuff on it, people with games set up, people with, you know, 3 or 4 shelves full of, sealed product and this and that, toys, trinkets, whatever. And it was super easy to feel underwhelming or also overwhelmed by everything that's going on around you. And you're like, man, what am I doing here? Tune it all out. Just don't worry about any of it. People are going to stop at the table. Just treat them nice, and just be confident. People like the confidence, even if it's fake. Fake it till you make it, right? Um, yeah, you just have to tune out all the extra noise. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. just do what you're doing with confidence. All right. Somebody comes up to your table, say, hey, don't just sit there, stand up with people, interact with them. I see a lot of vendors, they just sit at their chair and play on their phone and do whatever. And somebody walks up to their table and walks by, and there's zero interaction. Um, you know, that's just not gonna do it for people, right? You're gonna get some sales and whatever. Um, then good for them. But a lot of the people, the other vendors that I saw succeed, what I felt helped me succeed is really interacting with people. Like I said, somebody comes up to your table, say, hey, what's going on? You looking for any specific card? I can help you find it. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Or just be friendly with people, interact, right? And do it confidently. People really respond to confidence. Um, so that's kind of take two. There's kind of 2A, 2B. Tune out all the other noise, and just be confident in what you're doing and interact with people, right? So yeah, that's the second note. Note 3 is a little more hands-on practical. So one of the biggest pieces of advice that was given to me is, your $1 to $10 stuff, it is your money maker, right? Don't worry about, especially early on, getting all these big expensive cards and spending thousands of dollars on inventory. Don't worry about that. Just load up on little $1 to $10, $15 cards. People eat that stuff up. I did have a display case of some nicer cards. My initial concern was, because I didn't have that many cards over like that $10, $15 range to put in the display case, that it was just going to look empty and silly and be kind of dumb looking, right? So I ended up putting in all my cards that were $5 and up into that case. It definitely filled it up. It made the display look really nice. But what I think I found out after doing some research later, really all of my sales, the vast majority, were all in my $1 to $4 card binder. It really was the moneymaker. What I think was happening is that display case creates a barrier, right? When people can't touch the product, it creates that barrier, and it makes them less likely to buy it. They have to ask you, or you have to offer to open the case, hand it to them, and it just creates a mental barrier for them. So, like I said, I kind of did some research on it, asked some people, and yeah, you really it's gonna feel weird, especially if you do have a display case with some nicer cards. It's okay if it's a little empty, right? You really need to move, and I'm going to test this next show. We'll see how it goes. But I was really told, and the research kind of shows, that you really need to get those kind of $5 to $10 or even $15 cards. You got to get them into a binder or into a little box. People can sort through. They can, fiddle with it. They can physically feel the card. But those smaller cards are your money makers. And if you put a barrier between, the customer and that card, especially when it's your money maker, it's not good. So I'm going to test that out at my next show and see if it goes a little better with some of those like $5 to $10 cards. I moved them all into a binder instead of the case. I was able to pick up some other cards at my last show to kind of fill the case up a little bit. So hopefully it kind of ends up in the middle somewhere there. But yeah, so definitely a little more practical note there. Get those $10, $15 cards all into a binder. Let people be able to touch them. Remove that barrier of the display case from your money makers. Yeah. So that's that. Um, the last note I have, um, the fourth and final note, is you really, if you're really serious about the money aspect of it, if you're doing it for the fun, trading this and that, the other, that's great, good on you. If you're really trying to either make money or trying to use it for a specific reason, us, for example, we're really trying to use the vending in order to feed our personal collection, right? So in order to do that, you do in fact need to earn money doing this, right? You need to be net positive on the money. So, um, yeah, like I said, we did make money at the first show, but it was not a lot. And I can easily see how if you're not paying that close attention, you can easily get really out of whack on if you're actually making money or not. Um, and I felt like I was really paying attention. Um, Even wrote our own kind of point of sale system between myself and some AI coding. We wrote up a little program to do that for us and really track our money. Um, and we sold, a decent amount of money worth of cards, but between table fees and the cost of the cards, you have to factor that in. Um, and cost for all of your equipment. You got to buy a display case, you got to buy binders, this and that, the other, right? All that stuff really adds up fast. So it could easily get away from you if you're really not paying attention to it. If you're there just to have fun, that's great, good for you. But in order to make money doing this, you really kind of have to pay attention, especially if you're really not familiar with the monetization side of it, or if you don't do that, in your personal life, at work or whatever. If you're not really involved in that kind of stuff, and not used to it, it can really get away from you. So, um, yeah, I think that's kind of my final note. Um, yeah, I think that's it. If you can, comment down below any other suggestion, if you're also a vendor, that you would have for me at my next show. Just any kind of tips or advice, that'd be great. If you learned something, comment that below. If you're like, man, I really found that useful. Or if you agreed with something that I said, you're like, yeah, when I've started vending, I wish I would have known this. Comment any of those things below. Give us a quick follow, a quick share, like, follow, share, all of the above, right? Um, yeah, we appreciate it. See y'all around.